Praise be to Jesus. Hi again, everyone. Charles with you. Well, Steve Skojak of 1 Peter 5, very traditional Catholic, and a man with either an amazing memory or quite a filing system. Anyway, he seems to be the first one to break this news here. Now, this is a really long article. I'm going to read quite a bit of it to you. So, anyway, here's the headline here. Shock. Pope to celebrate new rite of Mass at closing of Youth Synod. Yikes. Here we go. Plenty of controversy now surrounds Pope Francis. His seemingly invalid election, his long pattern of heterodox teaching, the Vigano report implicating him in cascading sex abuse crimes, the ongoing Amoris Laetitia debacle, the Vatican sellout to communist China. Pick your disaster. At this Pope's penchant for making a mess, that's in quotes because the Pope talked about making a mess, shows no sign of diminishing to the peril of countless souls. We agree with Chris Ferrara's assessment over at The Remnant and his call, like Bishop Gracita's, for an imperfect synod to defend the Church from Francis, a kind of emergency family intervention to stop the violence of an abusive father. But having noted earlier controversies, we maintain the worst dimension of this pontificatus horribilis, I guess, I don't know whether he's making those words up or what, it sounds like a horrible papacy, has been a certain revisionist approach to divine worship, now set to display itself in liturgical spades at the conclusion of the Youth Synod currently underway in Rome. Many have decried Francis's liturgical offenses over the years, offering masses with giant puppets, balloons, and tango dancing in the sanctuary, omitting genuflections before the Blessed Sacrament, withholding the papal blessing at audiences, but publicly blessing psychotropic herbs for pagan rituals, displaying profane items like beach balls on high altars, employing sacred vessels, furnishings, and vestments of novel design or illicit material, and a lengthy record of communicado in sacris that has united this Pope in worship with, even bestowed on him, the formal blessings of heretics, schismatics, Muslims, Jews, and witch doctors, which that all of it were fake news. These past deviations pale into comparison to what's coming. All right, so he's done with the past here. Now he's going to talk about this Mass. After wielding what appears for all the world to be a Wiccan stang at the opening Mass of the Synod, the Pope has announced that he will celebrate a new form of Mass at its conclusion, a liturgy that priests, bishops, cardinals, and theologians are denouncing as barely recognizable as a Catholic rite. You know, Maria Divine Mercy, I'm telling you, if this comes to pass, this is just one other in a very long list of things that came true that she said, Anyway, this is really bad. Earlier this summer, one of Pope Francis's advisors elicited justifiably strong reaction after affirming that this Pope breaks Catholic tradition whenever he wants, welcoming the same as a new phase of church history in which the faithful are no longer to follow Christ per the dictates of Scripture and tradition, but are rather to be ruled by an individual, without any moorings at all. I was just looking at a pop-up, excuse me. A bit far from Catholic, one could hardly call this diagnosis inaccurate. A number of commentators, Catholic and otherwise, have already shown Francis's ongoing overthrow of traditional doctrine and discipline to bear marked similarities to the autocratic machinations of organized crime lords and socialist dictators of the past. But none of his earlier departures from sacred tradition are as staggering as this coming celebration of a new form of Mass, representing a radical break with all prior liturgical forms in the Roman Rite. The Pope announced it as a liturgical innovation, a change in a venerable tradition that affects our hereditary religious patrimony, which seem to enjoy the privilege of being untouchable and settled, calling this a special and historical occasion, and insisting that we should not let ourselves be surprised by the nature or even the nuance of its exterior forms. Well, that was a quote. Does this sound even remotely like a hermeneutic of continuity to anyone? From the same announcement, we must prepare for this many-sided inconvenience. It is the kind of upset caused by every novelty that breaks in on our habits. We shall notice that pious persons are disturbed most because they have their own respectable way of hearing Mass, and they will feel shaken out of their usual thoughts and obliged to follow those of others. Even priests may feel some annoyance in this respect. This novelty is no small thing. Hey, boy. Read the Pope's words again. Tradition, forget it. Piety, over and done. Friends, this is a plain announcement from the See of Peter that the sacred rites once entrusted by Jesus Christ to his apostles for the offering of eternal mysteries are no longer binding or relevant. This is a declaration of liturgical revolution. Considering those involved in the making, it could hardly be otherwise. Well, here, I'll keep on reading here. I can't read all this. It's really long. Earlier this summer, many scoffing Cardinal Gerhard Müller, former prefect for the Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith, denounced a blatant process of Protestantizing, he was observing in the Catholic hierarchy, with bishops who justified their infidelity to the Catholic faith with allegedly pastoral concerns. Now, scoffers can do little more than ignore this clear and public demonstration of the same, that a mysterious committee, apparently even cardinals had no idea who constituted the group, of sundry liturgical experts, has worked long in closed-door sessions at the Pope's behest to draft a new rite of Mass with direct input from Protestant pastors in the process. Now, this is the fifth footnote, so I don't know what's going on with the footnote, but, Steve is he's a good reporter, and he's a good writer, and he's got a great memory for all this. It already verges on incredible that any Catholic hierarch would have the gall to fabricate a new rite of Mass to suit his contemporary taste, ignoring the, I don't know what that is. Talk about it, I don't know. But to find that formal heretics were invited to contribute to this rupturing of the most venerable liturgical tradition in the world simply beggars belief. men who routinely violate the divine rights of the church, reject any number of her sacraments. Well, anyway, the article goes on and on. If you want to read it, I don't know. Obviously didn't do a very good job at reading it. You might be confused about some of what was coming out of my mouth. Anyway, this doesn't surprise me. And I think a lot of people aren't going to be surprised at this, because we already have a very deep belief that this Pope is here to lead Catholics and whoever else will follow him to the gates of hell. That's really, he's setting up the stage for the Antichrist. And this is just another example of him destroying Catholicism brick by brick. If this is to come to pass, now, like I said, this is the first article I've seen about this. So, well, anyway, if you want to look at it, I'll leave the link in the description box. And, I made some new prayers, that we can pray for our priests in our church. So I'll put one of them up now. And I think that's it for right now. So take it easy. Bye.